This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Hey, alrighty. How you doing, Ira? You doing good?
Doing good. Looking forward to the break, getting away a little for the weekend. I'll catch you in next week's Acura Pembroke Pines report on Tuesday. Going to really sort of relish the chance the games have stopped, can take a breather here. But what a tough spot. I mean, one loss in Brooklyn, and all of a sudden you're the number 7 seed. You're in a play-in position. It's, you know what? It's a very sobering break. But if it gets the Heat to wake up and take notice, maybe not the worst thing ever. They are in a tough, dire situation. Now we're really going to read who they are.
How do you wake up when you can't do what's necessary? You know, you're watching that game against the Nets. You're getting infuriated. And I'm just watching it, and I'm going, this is a team that's too deficient offensively. The math does not work. You know what I mean? And I'm watching a Nets team that is depleted. They lost their 2 superstars. And yet they are running down that court, spreading the ball, and making sure they get themselves an open 3. And they're making them. And then you watch the Miami Heat, and they have to battle and claw for 2 points every single time. And it just doesn't work.
That wasn't the Miami Heat. That was the shorthanded Heat. Without Tyler Hero is their instant offense. Big O, I'll tell you right now, without Tyler Hero, if he's not available, the Heat go nowhere. Tyler Hero is.
Wait a minute. You make it sound like he's money every night, which that's not true.
No, I make it sound as if you have to have your key elements. The Nets might have been depleted by the trades with Kyrie and Durant. In that game, they listed not a single player on the injury report. They had a full mix to work with.
You have Bam and Butler, bro.
And that's 2. That's 2 in a 3-team league. We know this. We know when the Heat were battling with those 2, they always needed a third element. They thought it was
but not against the Nets with no stars. You should still win that game, but you don't have enough around those guys.
I think without Tyler Hero,
and then you were talking about, we'll get Duncan Robinson, 2 of 7 air balls. Come on, give me a break. Duncan Robinson cannot be counted on anymore. That was a stretch that he was in. He's completely been out of that for a long time now, and without consistent playing time, there's no way he ever gets back on track again. And he's so deficient in other areas that it also is a liability every time he's out there on the court.
A playoff liability. 1, you don't go anywhere without Tyler Hero. 2, in the regular season, Duncan Robinson can, and I still think will help this team. The playoffs were a different game. Matter of fact, before I came on, you were talking about you can't trade 2s for 3s. I 1,000% agree with that during the regular season. But we have yet to see the 3-point teams dominate the playoffs. Mike D'Antoni.
Warriors won last year, man.
Mike D'Antoni. Warriors are a great defensive team. Warriors, everyone looks
at the hell out of the 3 too.
Because that's sexy, but they also have other elements of the game, including Draymond Green getting into the paint. You can't judge the Heat to their whole. Without Tyler Hero, without Victor Oladipo, without what they wanted Kyle Lowry to be.
So you're counting on an often injured Tyler Hero to stay healthy, an often injured Oladipo to stay healthy. Come on, Ira. That's the other thing we got to, by the way, we have to mention Tyler Hero, injury prone, constantly injured, always has something. Dude can't play most of the games. And this is every season with Tyler Hero. Constantly. He's not reliable. His body doesn't hold up all the time. He breaks down all the time too.
He's been working his body, but the one thing I will say is you have to have your primary players out there to get a read on who you are. I'm the first one to tell you, if you're not going to be healthy, that you're not going to go anyplace. I agree with that. The Miami Heat either have to find other options or get guys healthy to be who they are. But you know what? For all that Bam is, for all that Jimmy Butler is right now, that 2-man game is not enough for the Miami Heat.
Of course not.
I 1,000% agree with that. That you're going to need more. You're going to need health. And even in the playoffs last year, that ultimately was what sort of undid the Heat to a degree also when they didn't have all their players available. You have to be healthy. You have to be good to go. You have to be more available. But you know what? Even someone like Tyler Hero, for as much as you think he's missed a lot of games, right now he's missed 15. Yes, that's a lot. But if you can get him available for the second half of the season, that's what's going to matter. The Heat in their best form, I think, are a playoff team. The problem is Big
for
O, and you
sure.
hit it right on the head. They never get to their best form. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, I don't see. I don't know what their best form is anymore because they have no proof of anything that's their best form. This group here has no proof. We've never seen anything with Lowry that makes it, that he took it to another level for this team. We haven't seen any of their young guys stay on a consistent streak. Overall, they've only been streaky. They don't necessarily develop consistency. Bam like consistency. Jimmy like consistency when he's on the court. Although, boy, the other night against the Nets, that wasn't necessarily the most inspiring
Yeah.
effort by Jimmy.
Regular season Jimmy Butler is a different animal, and that's unfortunate. And I do agree with you on this, Big O. They have to get Jimmy to give whatever word you want to use a little bit more about the remaining regular season games, because he can say all he wants. He's going to turn it on. Keep this in mind, Big O.
I heard that in your interview with him, and I'm like, he's like putting it off, like, because you were telling him, you were asking about, are you concerned about, where you're in a play-in position, all that going down the stretch, and he's very casual, like, oh yeah, no, we'll turn it on, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, who are you? How can you turn it on when you're not special at any level?
And here's the deal, Big O. Big O, here's the deal. If they do get in the play-in, okay, maybe they advance to the play-in. Probably do. You're playing the number 1 or number 2 seed. I say that you and I can both go on the record here. They're not beating Boston in a series. Nope. They're not beating Milwaukee in a series. And I'm not sure, Big O, if they're competing with those teams in a series. But if you get to 6 or 5 and you're playing the Sixers, the Cavaliers, or the Nets, you're giving yourself a chance to salvage this season. So number 7, you're going to hear it again. Oh, all we have to do is win 1 of 2 home games or in the playoffs. But it's about more than that, Big O. It's about giving yourself a competitive chance. That game in Brooklyn was a blown and lost opportunity. I wholeheartedly agree about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just... All right, so I guess now what we have to look forward to is the buyout, because I'm sorry, Kevin Love does nothing for me. The Russell Westbrook one, which it looks like he's already talking with the Clippers, but that one really did nothing to me because, again, I feel terrible for Spo. I just think I think he's a chef. I think he makes everything look better than what it really is. I think this front office and ownership group has made so many mistakes since the Big Three. And he makes it look every situation, he makes it look better than what it really is. I think Spo is a gift, dude. But you keep screwing him over, and it's like, oh, Russell Westbrook, what, we're going to add another 2-point shooter to this team? That doesn't make any sense.
Low percentage 2-point shooter, right?
Yeah, exactly. At least Love, okay, he can shoot the 3, and he can help you with some rebounding. I get it. Doesn't necessarily get me excited. He's also injury prone, by the way.
And again, I think that number 7 seed kills them, because if you're a player looking to go somewhere in the buyout market, you're looking to make a deep playoff run.
That's right.
You look at the Heat, you're saying, hey, their regular season ends April 9th. By April 14th, they can be done. Yeah. So what are you doing? You're signing somewhere to give yourself 1 or 2 more games? No. If a Kevin Love can go to the Suns, he's going to have a deep playoff run. Whether he plays or not, another story. If a Russell Westbrook goes to the Clippers, he has a chance for a deep playoff run. That's why Terrence Ross decided he was going to sign. He was going to go to the Suns. That's why you have a situation where the Milwaukee Bucks were able to pick up a point guard in Reggie Jackson. The Denver Nuggets are going to have a deep playoff run. Even Dallas picking up a player, and Justin Holiday on the buyout market. Again, you look at Dallas, they can go somewhere. You look at the Heat right now, and you're saying to yourself, hey, a loss to the Hawks and a loss to the Raptors, certainly possible, and they're done by April 14th. They're in a tough spot. Their top players who were projected have to play more to their pedigree. And, of course, we got the whole Kyle Lowry situation.
Let me ask you something. When does Spo get way more control of what goes on with
He has a lot of control right now, Big O. It's in his contract. He has contractual control. I will say this.
He has contractual control of the roster.
Yes, he has control.
I'm talking about personnel.
In his contract, he has personnel say in his contract. But the biggest say is what Andy Ellisberg says works under the cap and the tax, and how the Arisons want to spend. Let's not kid ourselves. When you give Kyle Lowry a 3-year, $85 million contract, Nick and Mickey Arison have to sign off. Same thing with Duncan at $5 and $90. they have to sign off. The ultimate control in a salary cap luxury tax world rests with the money makers, the money decision people. They signed off on those. And what's happened is, in a salary cap world, once you get bitten, once you make the bad deal once, that carries over. Like you mentioned before the show started today, our segment on the Acura Pembroke Pines report. Now you've got to find a way to shed that money to get new money. And now, when the Max Strus becomes a free agent, you say to yourself, do we want to do what we already did with Duncan, or do we have to be more careful, even though it's apples and oranges? Same thing with Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent's your starting point guard now and possibly for the balance of the season.
Oh, yeah.
But when he becomes a free agent, do you say to yourself, hey, we still got another year of Kyle Lowry on the books for $30 million. We can't be affording to pay another point guard $10+ million and load in all that money in a salary cap at $40 million to two guys. That's the problem. You wind up chasing your mistakes and getting hurt by them. Salary cap world's a lot different. This is Major League Baseball where the Yankees or the Mets say, okay, we lost DeGrom. We'll just go sign another 42-year-old pitcher. We'll get Verlander. It's not that easy in the NBA. Everything has to work together. So, yes, Eric Spoelstra has personnel say, but there's a lot of interlocking components.
And I almost feel like his personal say is he's still deferring to the front office and to the ownership group.
And like you mentioned before, and to players. Eric Spoelstra needs a happy Jimmy Butler. If a happy Jimmy Butler wants Kyle Lowry, it's even tough for a Spo to say no and have to deal with Jimmy Butler. He's seen what other teams have done and have dealt with an unhappy Jimmy Butler. This is a weird sport. It's only 5 men play at a time. If a player is one of your top 5 wants someone, you get someone. Look at Kevin Durant. He wanted to play with Kyrie Irving. That didn't work out so well. Look at Durant and Irving.
Jimmy Butler still happy with Kyle Lowry on the team for real? Is he really happy with that decision?
Oh, no. Right now, from a basketball standpoint, he still loves Kyle as the godfather of his daughter, as a friend. But there's a business side to this whole thing, and that's where it differs for Jimmy. That's the problem. The push-pull of getting players who they want. They did it for LeBron all the time. Worked out fine. Mike Miller, perfect condition. Birdman, Ray Allen, that worked out when you had great players. In this case, not so much. So what you were saying in the crosstalk before of Acura Pembroke Pines report, I think is correct. You've got to listen a little less to your players, but it's hard because you're in the locker room with your players for 82 games and for a bunch of practices and shoot-arounds. And if they're not happy, this whole thing can go to crap in a hurry.
Yeah, I know, but at least, the good thing is that the Heat do have ammo now with Jimmy and say, hey, bro, we did what you wanted and it was a freaking disaster. Relax. We're going to do what we want.
Just like the Lakers did with LeBron when they said, you wanted Russell Westbrook and we wound up losing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell. That didn't work out either. That does humble a player. Now, whether Jimmy can be humbled because of who he is, we'll see that as well.
All right. What do you got going on this weekend on the Sun Sentinel so folks can check it out?
A couple of things. I posted today my Ask Iron. I think it's important that the Heat at number 7 are not in a great place to chase buyout guys because they could be done before the play-in round. Right now, I'm not so sure a lot of people around the league are looking at Miami and saying, hey, that's where I can reestablish my value. So I think that's an ongoing concern. And then I wrote a story I just posted at sunsentinel.com about there are so many moving parts for the Miami Heat. In this All-Star break, they have to figure out, is Kyle Lowry going to come back? Is he going to come back as a player? Is Victor Oladipo reliable, or is this ankle injury just the latest in a series of injury? What happens when Big Yurt gets back on the court? Can he play alongside Bam Adebayo? Is he purely the backup center? And because of that, do they let Orlando Robinson go? Do they let Jamari Bouye go because of the buyout market? So there's sort of 6 or 7 guys in place right now that the Heat have to make determinations before they resume practice next Thursday to sort of know what direction they're going. That's the thing, Big O. You hit right on the head. A quality playoff team on February 17th does not have this amount of questions. The Heat have way too many questions for a team getting ready for their final 23 games. So I examined those options as well.
All right, there you go. And follow them on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Have a fantastic weekend, my friend. Enjoy the basketball.
And we'll catch you on Tuesday with our next Acura Pembroke Pines report. Thanks, Big O. Happy weekend to everyone out there.
You got it, baby. There you go. Ira Winderman getting it done for us like he always does all week long with our Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report.
Show.